Hi, Erwin Arnstein here with another tuba comparison. Let's say tuba concerto. Um, if you watch my videos, you've seen I've compared a lot of different instruments, and I have a lot of different tubas. And people say, "Well, why do you need so many different instruments?" Well, I have a 1912 Elkhart, which is the 1897 model Con. And that instrument I use for outdoor gigs and polka bands and stuff. I always tell people as a professional tuba player, you're usually going to have 4 tuxedos and lederhosen, and you're usually wearing one or the other. Now, I played a lot of legitimate jobs over my years, but I'm now playing mostly, as you see in my YouTube channel, with the Singapore Slingers, which is a foxtrot orchestra. So it plays music from 1935 down to, say, 1890. That style of performance is bouncier, it has more presence, and it's a brighter sound that you're looking for because, as we say in the foxtrot, the drummer sets the tempo and the bass tells you how to move your feet. Now in the slingers we have a string bass and we have a tuba. So I get to play when it's loud, but when we're just using strings or when the boss sings, there's no reason for me to be blasting away on some kind of tuba. I've recently, in the past few years, changed to using a 1925 King 1240 3-valve forward action bell forward. Recording tuba has a lot of presence, but I don't have to be loud for it to be heard, so that you can hear me clearly and you get a great feel for the music, but I don't have to blast everybody to play it. And I can play it loud if I need to. Only 18 pieces of 4/4 size tuba is more than accurate. You could do the job with a 3/4. I'd love to have a Yamaha 620. If anybody's got one for $500, I'd love to have it. They're worth $6,000 and they'll stay at $6,000. To me, it's the only instrument they've ever played and it's made, and it's the only instrument they've made that I ever liked. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the Yamaha. I'm here to talk about a comparison. Now, recently, I had bought one of the Cool Winds bright red tubas. I thought this would be great. I want to use this as a practice instrument. I want to use it for rehearsals. And the reason for that is it's harder and harder to get people to play and work on the valves on an old tuba. You can go to overload, but it might take a year or two for them to get to it, and they probably spend a couple of grand to do it. Now, the answer to that has been solved where it was never solved before with, and this is a little plug even though they don't pay me or anything, for ultra pure oils. I don't use ultra pure's valve oils in this instrument because they're not thick enough. It won't seal up enough. I often use the light bearing oil, which is the blue label, and sometimes the tuba is really bulky and it really feels leaky. Every now and then I come back with their linkage and key lever oil, which is really heavy. It does slow down the valves, but generally I'm playing Oompa in the Foxtrot Orchestra and a few little bass runs. I don't have to have the valves go really fast. That's probably why the Con 36J, which was an enormous 6/4 tuba, was so popular way back then, but later on it got replaced by the 20J with its oblong passages, short action, and offset valve stems, which gave it the action of a trumpet rather than the action of a tuba, because a 36J has really long valve action. The Cool Wind tuba has paddles and a rotary valve instrument, but my God, its travel is almost that of a 36J. You're really not getting any advantage with that. The other thing, there's some great YouTube videos done by Roger E. Anderson. Watch his videos on Cool Wind tubas because he knows how to play the tuba and he sounds very good with it. That's what got me to buy the horn. Now the problem was, and you're going to hear the same problem at the other tuba I'm going to demonstrate, is that those bump stops get bad. Well, the seats break on the plastic horn. I'm sure you could just glue it back together, but I need an instrument that I can play all the time and I was going to have to worry about. And so that's why I didn't stick with the Cool Wind. The other problem that Mr. Anderson goes through on his video is, and I'll try and include a picture of it while I'm blithering on, is that when they assemble these instruments, they drop the valves into the plastic body. They have a aluminum liner or a brass liner, I'm not sure which, doesn't matter. And they just put it in there with like Gorilla Glue. Well, the glue expands and sticks out into the passages, so you need to pull the rotors out of the instrument and cut away all that garbage because you're getting a 10 to 20% loss in efficiency and a blockage in the wind path, and it's really not good. It's like playing a dented up horn in the critical areas that you don't need. So what was really nice about it was super light. The gig bag's about as thin as a bed sheet. I don't even know that I would bother with the gig bag, other than it gives you back straps, so you can put it on your back and carry it. If you got to carry a gig bag and a chair and other things to a job. The other thing though is it has lugs for a strap, and so with the strap you could just strap it on your back and not even have to waste your time with the gig bag. So Cool Wind Tuba, I can't really recommend it. They play pretty good. If you really need a lightweight horn, they're pretty good. They're a large bore tuba. They make a good sound. I think it would sound even better if the plastic in the bottom bow and the bell was thicker, but that's not up to me. And I would also change the valve linkage so that the throw on the valves wasn't so long, and I wouldn't have as heavy of a valve spring. Now, heavy valve springs are usually compensating for bad action or poorly lapped in valves or whatever. On my King 1240 that you see in the video, it has baritone springs in it. You keep it oiled up and you play it right, yeah, it's maybe a little mushy when you use the heavier valve oils, but it has much faster action and it just plays a little better. And I don't need Gorilla valve springs. My arms are strong enough. I don't need a daily workout. I want to just play the tuba. So, having said that, quick little review of the Cool Wind Tuba and why I didn't keep it. I bought a used one off of eBay and I returned it because it had a repair and I didn't like the repair on it. I didn't have confidence. I played for about a minute and the bump stop fell out. And I just thought, okay, I'm not going to deal with this. I need to be playing in rehearsals. So moving right along, what we're going to compare today is my vintage 1916 trusty York tuba, which you can see in a lot of my videos, and my new practice instrument, which I actually paid $100 less than I paid for the plastic rubber tuba used. And this other horn is the Czerveny 681. Wow, we're not going to try and impinge or try to give you any hints that it's a copy of a Marathon, but it's virtually identical. Now the main difference is I got one that's a good one. And this one, I'm not used to it. I only got it yesterday. I only have about 30-40 minutes playing time on a Mac, so I don't really know how it reacts to me and how I react to it. But it plays really well, and it's got a really nice sound. Now, York are cold instruments, and they're cold instruments for a great reason. It doesn't really center the tone that great, but that's good, because I can push the tones around, and with a 3-valve instrument, that's actually an advantage, especially when you have to blow 1, 2, and 3 flat. As I'm usually just doing boom, 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 like a string bass, and you don't really have to do all this stuff and jacking with the valve slides and all that. That's another quick comment I'm going to make. When you watch someone play a tuba and they're doing all this rigmarole with the valve slides and all this while they're playing it, I always find it quite curious because I'm a trombone player as well. Well, I can't move the slide this much or even an inch without making a big difference in pitch. But you watch these guys play and I'll push a button and then move the slide. Okay, so what's going on there? Are they blowing it flat? Or are they blowing it sharp that they have to pull the slide out or push it in? Seems to me you'd have to have the slide already where you want it if you want to hit the pitch at the right temp. So that's my take on it. I've made myself unpopular with a lot of my comments about the way I see people play the tuba. That's fine, I don't care. If it works for you, more power to you. The other big debate that you'll see is, well, do we have silver finish? Do we have lacquer finish? Do we have raw brass? It makes this, blah, blah, blah. I think it's so much voodoo. And the reason I say that is, when you take the bright finish off a lacquer instrument, right, to get it down to dark brass, remove this heavy layer of lacquer that's really affecting the horn, and I suppose it does, one of the main things that's happening, though, is you're now making the horn unprotected brass. You need to wipe it down all the time. You're going to have to look for the red rust. You're going to have to worry about corrosion and other issues. Is that worth it to you? Only you can tell. However, rather than make your horn look ugly or cool, if that's what you think it is, something that makes a far bigger difference is what mouthpiece am I using in my instrument. For example, when I play the York, I'll often use a loud LM12. it's shallow, but it's wide. In the tubby York, it really gives it some pop, if I want it to have a pop. And then I also am a big believer in the Baritone Rose orchestra mouthpieces. I think there's a TU-23 and a TU-25. One is the solo and one is the orchestra. I think Rose is a very underrated tuba player. You don't hear his name like Roger Bolo or Sam Pilfian or whatever, but I think he really understood the tuba, and he understood a lot of players, and you can find YouTube comments of people talking about his performances and stuff. Another one of my favorite tuba players, John Fletcher, who always played the compensating Besson horns. Anyway, so I've talked enough. Hopefully, if you didn't want to hear all this crap, you can just scoot forward on the video and go right to the performance. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play one of my old euphonium studies. And I just did a euphonium demo. I didn't play it that great, but I played the tuba more than I played the euphonium. And I'm going to play my trusty old 1916 York marked USQMC United States Quartermaster course. So you probably saw action in World War I, even if it was a bass band over here. Who knows? Wouldn't you love to hear the stories it could tell? And then I'm going to play the Czerveny 681, which is a Baritone Schlagkopf. I played a lot of Czervenys over the years. They always said, well, this is okay. It's not great. It's not horrible. But, for, it was always good value for money. But I think when you hear this one, aside from the bumper noise on the first valve, which I'll get taken care of pretty soon here, it's a pretty nice horn. And I'm very impressed with it. And as far as a practice horn, so that I don't incur extra wear on my vintage horns, it's pretty much ideal. So now I can just bring my horns out for the dress rehearsal, do the performance, then put them back and wait for the next time that they need to come out. But I can still have a good rehearsal horn and not have something of iffy quality like the Cool Winds tuba, which is not a kid's horn. It's for someone who knows how to play. And if you know how to play it and you're going to take the time to learn it, I think you can make a good horn, as this is a brass instrument. And I can't say that about any other plastic horns, as I have a demo of a plastic Jean-Baptiste trombone, which is over there on the wall, versus, say, a con recording, and of course they don't compare. The Cool Wind, I should have done it, but since the bump stop wasn't reliable, it would have been nice to have a demo comparing it directly with another tuba. Anyway, without further ado, we'll do a Czerveny versus York. Great, another dance. More character. A Czerveny versus the York, and I'm going to use the same mouthpiece in both instruments. I probably wouldn't do that on most horns. You really need to find a mouthpiece that works for you for the horn that you have. And another thing I always say is, I don't care whether you're playing a Pan-American E-flat sousaphone or you're playing a Maraphone Norwegian star. If the horn fits you, if it's easy for you to play, it's easy for you to articulate, it's the right instrument. Don't listen to anybody else's crap. Play instruments, horse straight on eBay. That's the way you have to do it now. So you get the instrument that fits you, that you like to play, that's easy for you to play. And if it's easy for you to play, then you'll be able to put that much more into the instrument and push your talents and your abilities that much further. You should not be working for the horn should work for you. So there's the York. A few articulation problems. I'm not really playing this kind of stuff anymore. Now, you also notice that I'm using a tuba rest stand. And I have to tell you that a tuba rest stand is really important. If you're not having to worry about holding the instrument up or having to girl the thing around or how you're doing anything, that's a big improvement. That makes the inner horn easiest to play. You want to make the horn easy to play. Do whatever it takes to make the horn easy to play. As you can see, I'm wearing these owl eye glasses. I got these vintage frames for the Singapore slingers. They play 1920s music. Might as well look like 1920s glasses. But they make the music in focus for me. So, again, whatever you can do to make your performance easier, to make the instrument easier to play, like, it's just like the best cars, the best motorcycles, whatever it is, the easier it is to use, the better it is to use it. Okay, having said all that, and Professor Arnstein finishing his lesson, I'm going to dig out here, put this guy here, the mighty Czerveny 681 Schlocka. Now, boy, you look at that layout, man, does that look like a Miraphone 181. Now, of course, here's the deal. The instrument, of course, has some really noisy bumpers here, so try not to let that bother you. And I didn't really squirt any oil into this thing. So I'm going to do that real quick. And I'm using piston oil. Oh my God, you didn't use rotary oil. That's going to destroy the instrument. That might make the valve seal up better. So, retrieve my mouthpiece here. Now, this horn goes the other way, so I'm going to slide this music over here so I can read it. You can watch me mishandle the valves. Now, as I said earlier, I got rid of my last rotary valve horn years ago, and that horn was a Zhangxian import. It was a 191. It's my video where I have the Chinese 191 Schlocka tuba. Now, this linkage on that horn was replaced with radio control car tie rods, right? The steering gear for radio control car. That stuff works great. It's silent. It works really well. It's very durable. Those little cars go through hell, and it makes excellent linkage for tuba playing. So, if you have a horn with bulky linkage, you might look into seeing how you can get it. They have little ball joints that you can screw into the little holes and things that these have, and you can go for it. Anyway, this is not a new Czerveny. As you can see, it's got all kinds of dents and ugly repairs and whatever. But I've had a lot of ugly horns, and as I said earlier, ugly horns often play really well. And who cares? We're not here to make a visual. We're here to make music. So, might have to do more than one take. We'll see how this works. Also, remember, I'm not that used to using the fourth valve, so cut me some slack. Not bad. So, nice horn, noisy valve, that can be fixed, but plays really well. As I get used to it, I'll play it even better. Remember, I've got less than 30 minutes of playing time on this. Well, I've been playing my good old York here for years. As I get better, I'm sure I will get to the level where I'm used to the valve throw, used to the feel of the instrument, used to how it reacts, and I will play just as well, if not better, than the vintage York. Well, won't have all the capabilities that the old York has, won't have the same style, but all in all, very nice tuba. Thanks for watching.